Here's a review for Studio One version 2. It's a popular music making program and audio editor. This is the startup screen that you get when you first launch it. You can create a new song, a new project, or open an existing document. You can also edit your artist profile here. And if you have the Pro version, this is the professional version, you can upload to things like SoundCloud, which I'm sure you're familiar with, and Nimbit, which is by the same company that makes this program, PreSonus. It's basically a place to sell your music when you created it if you want to. You also have a news feed here, and I am using the latest version 2.6.5 of the professional version. Demos and tutorials tab there as well. It's 64-bit. The other versions, such as Artist, Producer, and the free version, are only 32-bit. Personally, I think all the pay-for versions should be 64-bit, but anyway. As well as there being trials available, there is a standard free version, which is very cut down, but there is a completely free version that never runs out. So if you're getting started, I recommend you either start with a trial or even get the free version, and then if you feel you need more, then get a trial of, say, professional. Let's have a look at preferences. General is very general. It's basically when it starts, do you want it to do nothing? Do you want it basically just to open this start welcome screen? Or do you want it to open your last project or a new document? And you can select your language here. You then can change your shortcut keys here and allow or disallow remote control apps to discover this program. You then have locations for your user data. By default on Mac, it is Documents and Studio One in Documents. I should also mention that this is available on Windows. You can select an autosave duration or turn an autosave off from here. You can select what file types you want to be viewable in the browser. You can select where you have sound sets or loops installed. You can select where your instrument library is and where your plugins or VST plugins are. It does also support on Mac audio units. Now, this is the audio device setup. Now, unless I might be just missing this might just be something I haven't found out how to do correctly. But if I select the output device here, such as built-in speakers, I then can't record. But if I select the microphone here, I then don't have output I can use. You seem to have to go here and switch back and forth between output and input. You then have external devices such as external instruments. You then have an advanced tab. Here you've got things like enable a crosshair cursor for tools or not. You can then go to automation. You then have audio, such as play overlapping events or use non-buffered audio file access or not. You can set up a pre-record audio input. So do you want it to pre-record 5 seconds ahead? You then have some MIDI options, some device options, such as audio track monitoring, mutes playback, and services that warns you to be careful here. But you can disable plugins if you know a certain type of plugins maybe is crashing the program or whatever, and you don't need, say, VST3 or whatever. You can go here and disable it if you need to. Like I say, it does support audio units on Mac. It also supports VST 2.4 and ARA plugins. And the Pro version here does have CD burning support and QuickTime video support. You have recent files here, you have songs and projects. Let's have a look at create a new song. You can create an empty song and just start straight from scratch. You can select your sample rate. Is it CD quality 44.1 kilohertz? Is it DVD and Blu-ray quality, which is 48 kilohertz? Or is it studio quality, which is 96 kilohertz? it doesn't seem like it has, from the look of it here, it doesn't seem like it has 192 kilohertz, which is top end studio quality. You can select 16-bit, 24-bit, which is the two you mostly need. 32-bit, from my understanding, instruments or whatever, microphones and things are not 32-bit, but by going to 32-bit, you get a bit more leeway when you're, say, normalizing or raising the volume. This is the type of options you get mostly in programs. However, Sony SoundForge Pro 2 on Mac does actually have a 64-bit option. This does not. And there's a few other options there. Or you can select from a sort of a preset style here on the left. So if you're doing house and techno, you might want to start with that option there. If you are doing a rock band, select that. Or if you're doing vocals with a guitar, there's an option for that. Or if you're just doing vocal recording, or if you're not using this as a music program and you're recording a voiceover or podcast, I would start with vocal recording here. Then let's hit OK. Now the first thing I'm going to do quickly here is I can full screen, or I can stretch it to fill the window here. Let's start by filling the window. That's probably what you're going to want. Now, for recording audio such as a voice, let's go to Preferences. Let's go to Audio Setup. Let's go to Audio Device and select my microphone, Blue Snowball. Now over here on the track you want to record your vocal, you need to make sure you select this and select which one it's on. Now at the moment it's not on one, so let's go here. Input, Blue Snowball. Let's click, say, here, because it is on the mono. Now this is what I mean about the problem with input and output. Look, input, Blue Snowball, output, Blue Snowball. But if in the options I select built-in output, then I don't have Snowball here. Both input and output's the built-in output. So I'm not sure how you select this. So I'm not sure how you select a separate input and output. Once you've done that, you can also, well, apply it for a start. But you can then also do your ID3 sort of tags here, your metadata. You select your title, your artist, your album from here, the songwriter, composer, the year, a website if you have one for it, copyright, and your cover art, which is good because I have seen other audio editors that don't allow you to select your cover art. General is just the general things we've seen before, such as the sample rate and resolution. You can also select frame rate here. Let's not worry about that sort of thing at the moment and hit OK. At first it may seem a little cluttered because we have this over here, we have all this down here, but this you won't need open all the time depending upon what you're doing. Now, let's just record a quick sample into the program. Okay, I'm recording with the Blue Snowball microphone directly into Studio One. Hit stop. I've recorded a basic sample here. As you see, when I'm playback, I don't know if you hear it in the recording, but I certainly can't hear it out of my speakers. That's because I can't select both. But now we've done that, how do we apply a plugin, a VST or an audio unit? Well, you can't seem to get to it from right-clicking. You can't seem to get to it down here that I've noticed, but you can press F7 on your keyboard or go to View and select Effects. Now, as you see, you have your effects chains here. You have various categories such as instruments and guitar, drums, mastering, but you also have PreSonus, which is a company that makes this program, and you can select the ones that they have included with the program, such as their own compressor, chorus, and audio delay, analog delay. If under you can then go to one of these such as compressor and you get more options here. And one of them is a de-esser, which is good. Not all audio editors come with de-esser. And also a few other presets such as speech or vox or voice comp. It also has its own Pro EQ as well. There's a limiter, there's groove delay, which is one of the ones which is exclusive to the Pro version, not the other versions. And there's various other ones here, plus you can then get to any third-party ones you have installed. Example of this is WaveArts Dialog that I use all the time. So let's go to Edit. There's my waveform. Let's go over here, Dialog. I can then drag and drop, and it brings up its native dialog for dialog. So now we can adjust our settings here. So I can say go to preset. I can apply one of the company's own presets, or I can do one of my user presets, such as my pod 1. I can then apply its denoising. There we go. Now I can either hit up here to turn off the effect. So if I want to listen to the raw audio without the plugin enabled, I can disable that little power button up there, or I can re-enable it to turn it on. That's handy if you want to apply another plugin and turn this one off and hear just the effects of a plugin. Let's close it here. Whoops. Now, say we're fed up of having that in the way, we can go here, go to View, go to here, or press F7 and slide it out the way. Now we have a bigger workspace. Down here at the bottom right, we can go to Edit and get rid of that as well, or we can bring it up to Edit. We can do Mix, which is your various audio level bars, things like that there, and we can turn some of these on and off at the left. We can then get rid of it when we don't need it, and we can go to Browse. Get the Browse options back up to the right to find our plugins, etc. We can then get that down. Under Edit, we can do things like Split. Let's try that. There we go. That recording I did a moment ago is now split into 2 parts. And of course we could go over here again and split it into another part. Then when we don't want the split tool, we can go back to our arrow. We then have range to select a range, such as here. There's our range selected. We then have an eraser, which is interesting. So let's say we don't want this bit here. There, gone. I'm going to undo that. We then have a paint tool. And you can basically do all sorts there, including painting bits out like I have. Let's undo that. We then have next to that mute tool, bend tool, and listen tool. Audio bend, strip silence. Then if we click that, we have a whole host of other options. Let's just get rid of that for now. We then have actions. So we can normalize audio. Normally you probably do it at the very end or close to the end. You can reverse the audio. There is shortcuts listed as well. You can edit in Melodyne. That is a third-party program that comes with the Pro version of Studio One. We can create auto fades. We can create cross fades. We can decrease and increase the volume from here. Plus there's shortcuts if you don't want to keep doing it this way. There is detect transistance. There's remove bend markers. You can split, add a bend marker. You can merge, add an audio part. You can dissolve, export the audio loop. You can select and pull. You can send to a new sample one, which is again third party thing. Now, if we go to View, we can get to Editor, which is basically your edit that's down the bottom as well. It's just no way of getting to it. Console, which is what I showed you before, which is under Mix. The Inspector, which comes to the left over here, and you can see there's dialogue, and you can turn it off from over here as well. Basically, it's kind of like layers in Photoshop. Let's press F4 or click here. There's browser, which I've shown you already. Track list. There you go. There's a list of all your tracks in the project. As you see, by default, when I created that vocal project, it created 4 tracks. You perhaps only want 1 or 2 though, but you can then say, okay, let's scroll down. Don't need this one. Right click, remove track. There is also a shortcut for it as well. We can go to view. We can show home, which is good because you can get to effects from here as well, or your instruments or your sound library. We can click update plugins from here. Now let's go here and select pull. Here we can see all sorts of things like your track here, but let's go to sounds. Now, what is sounds? Well, let's just go to view and disable the track list a minute. Now what this is if you've used the old program on Windows called EJ, or if you've used GarageBand on Mac, it is basically pre-made loops or samples that you can drag and drop onto your track, your timeline, and make your own music. So you don't have to be a musician like I'm not. You can still create something at least halfway decent. So let's have a look at some here. Let's go to Studio One FX. You then have some more categories such as music loops. Let's go to music loops. Okay, now we can go to one here and hit play to get a preview. And we can preview. I'm not hearing them out of my speaker because I'm recording using screen capture program, so I'm not sure if I'm not hearing it on my speakers because I'm recording, or if I've just got my options ticked wrong here. But basically you can preview it here, see if it sounds okay. If it does, you can go to one of your tracks, such as track 2 maybe, and drag it on. We can go to one of these other categories here. Let's see, what shall we go to? We could go to maybe piano. There's a rock one here. Let's drag that on as well. Okay, this is actually more of a plug-in, this one. It's to basically create it yourself. It's not a loop. So let's just turn that off, close it down, and let's actually find a music loop here. Okay, here's some here. And let's drag it on. And then once it's on, you can move it around and reposition it. You can also grab the sides, drag it out, or drag it in. Okay, now up here we have track list. That's a shortcut to open the track list. We have information. We have plus to add a new audio track. We can give it a title. We can give it a count. We can give it a type such as audio, instrument, automation, or a folder. So this is a way you can create a folder rather than just a track as well. Here we can give it an audio color, or we can apply our own color for it. We can select if it's mono or stereo, and various other things such as a preset here as well. Let's hit OK. Now you can see that the track is there, and you can see it's been given the color that we picked. Then we have show automation. You can see it change down here. We can then open the tempo rack. We can then go to open the marker track. So let's say we went here, there. I've added a marker, gone here, added a marker. Now let's close that. We then have some tools such as the range tool here, the split tool, the eraser, the pen, the mute, the bend, the listen. So we don't have to go down here to edit. We can go and put our playhead at, say, here, and we can go to split. But I have to have the right track selected, of course. There you go. You can split the actual little loop boxes down here, not just the waveforms. We then have info view, and some of these options here, such as audio bend, which is available down here as well. We can have cursor follows edit position, and we can have auto scroll or turn it off. We can look at the video player here if we have a movie loaded. Start, this gets back to the welcome screen. Song creates a new song, and project creates a new project. This button here means mute, and you can mute each of the tracks. Solo, record, monitor, and channel mode. Now, to record, you need to make sure that record is lit up here. If it's like that, you won't be able to record on it, so make sure that is enabled. We then have channel mode. It seems to need to be on channel mode to record. And we can double click to give the track a title directly from here. As you can see, this main bit here is the vocal tracks. This one here is actually just a folder, so you can organize your timeline. And as I said, by going up here and selecting type folder, we can create our own folder to help organize our project. Medium here, now let's have a look. Minimal makes the timeline teeny. Overview is very small as well. Tiny is tiny. Small is usable, but a bit small. Normal is a little small for my liking, but you can go to medium here, which makes it a bit bigger. Medium is default, or you can go to large, or you can go to extra large. On my display and resolution, large looks quite good. You can get a bit of better idea what you're doing. This is your little information box where you can edit the automation from here. You can use the click drag parameter. You can see your track that you have highlighted, volume. Down here you can see performance, you can see the sample rate, you can see the time in bars, or seconds, samples, frames, samples, or seconds. I prefer seconds. From here you can rewind, you can stop, play, or this is how you can record. You hit record down here. This is for looping. Here's some more time information. Here's a metronome that you can enable. You can have a pre-count. You can have a metronome setup, so you can click here and adjust it to how you like. There's metronome there, and if it's colored, it's enabled. Auto punch, pre-roll. And there's your metronome setup here, information. There's your tempo there. From the Studio One menu on Mac, it will be under something else in the Windows One, maybe under options or edit, I'm not sure. But from the Studio One menu in Mac, you can get to your preferences, your keyboard shortcuts, your language. You can activate the program once you bought it. Installation, extensions, let's click that. And these are the extensions it has. The preset exchange of theirs, the Nimbit support and the SoundCloud support. You can enable and disable these and uninstall them here. My extensions, program extensions. Now, if you go to installation, you get this dialog. Now, unless you bought it on CD, if you bought it from online, you can click here and download some of the free stuff that comes with it. As you can see, I've downloaded it all, so new content is empty. Installed content shows you what you have installed, and third party shows you what third party plugins and things you have installed and software that supports it. If you look under third party, it comes with Melodyne Essential, which I mentioned earlier, and it comes with Native Instruments Complete Elements Mark II. These are various little programs and tools by third parties, and you can click Claim Key to activate them once you've installed them. Before you have anything installed, it'll be under New, and you can tick what ones you want and hit Install and install them. You get to them from down here as well for those third-party ones, and then you hit that, then your key will show up there as well. You can also hit Select Recommended Ones, so it only select the ones it recommends that you really should have. Or you can select all or none from there. You can go back or done. I'm going to hit done because I have them installed. You can get to the SoundCloud and Nimbit client from there as well. SoundCloud client, you can add tracks which you've made. It can be on your computer already exported. You can select a whole batch list here, then hit upload, and it will gradually upload them all as you wait. Similar sort of thing here with Nimbit, except for you can select a whole project there and have it upload that project that you created in Studio One. Edit is pretty much your typical edit menu. Song, you can import a file from here, you can export a mix down, export stems, update the mastering file, add to a project, locate any missing files, locate missing devices, remove unused files, copy external files, show the media folder in the Finder on Windows, it'd be My Computer. You can get to your song setup from here. You can get to your song information from here as well. You can go to tracks and add a new track from here, or you can add a new mono track, a new stereo track. You can add an instrument track. You can add an automation track. You can add a folder from here as well. You can add tracks for all inputs here. Collapse all your tracks. Transform, layers, controls, automation. Show automation from here, or A on the keyboard. Show the channel editor, which in this case, I have that selected, so it is bringing that up. You can select the instrument editor as well. All those things there have shortcuts. Event, you can insert a marker here or press Y on the keyboard. You can rename events, you can send to back, send to front, mute the event, toggle mute, unmute events, bounce selection, bounce to a new track, merge your event, split at grid, and various other options here, including export a music loop. Under audio, you can normalize, or option N, you can reverse your audio, strip, silence, edit in Metro and Melodyne, which is what I mentioned, a third-party plugin and software that comes with this. Your crossfades here and volume up and down, and various other options here as well. Transport is start, stop, return to 0, go to time, loop active, or loop just a selection that you have selected at a time. You can go to loop start, loop end, go to a particular marker, locate a section, go to the next marker, and metronome setup. Options, you can return to start on stop or not. You can allow the cursor to follow the edit position, and a few other options there as well. View is fairly typical view, but you can get to a few things down here, such as a record panel, a MIDI monitor, at performance monitor and the video player from here. This is the record panel. You have overdub or replace, record takes, record a mix, undo last loop, undo or, note repeat, note erase, erase key, or we can close it from here. From help, we can look at keyboard shortcuts, open the reference manual, see what's new in the latest version 2.6, and various other options here, including go to a website or check for updates. As you can see, I'm using 2.6.5.30.36.0, which is the latest version at the time of making this review. Now let's have a go at project. Okay, we're going to create a new project called Project 2, sample rate, and that's all you can set. There isn't a huge amount of options here. We just hit OK. There we go, this is our new project. Now from here we can then go to project, import a file, or locate missing files, burn the whole project to an audio CD, make an image, make a DDP image, digital release. So if we click here, it's going to moan about there not being anything in it. We can go to project setup. Here we can change the sample rate for the project or select the I/O. We can then add a new song to the project, rename, save a new version, restore a version, save as, recent files. So then basically you would hit new here, create an empty project, or say vocal again. Then we have a new song within that project. Then if we go to project, you can see we can swap between the two. We can swap song, we're on song, go to the project for it, go back to that particular song, and go back and forth. Okay, this is the project here. Now let's have a look at exporting. Let's go to digital release. Now we can export as an MP3 file, an OGG file, a FLAC file, an AIFF, which is more a Mac thing, or a generic WAV. Let's have a look at MP3. We get to select from 64 kilobits up to 320. We can enable real-time processing here. We can not publish it or publish it to Nimbit or SoundCloud from here. And pretty much the same type of options when you select the other formats as well. Let's cancel that. You can right click on the song in your project and click detect loudness if you want to check out the loudness. You can put this drop down here and you can adjust some of the parameters from here. Hit the wrench icon and you get the song opened up. We can go to song and export mix down. So we can select, let's say we want to make an MP3 file. We can select to publish it to Nimbit or SoundCloud or not. Let's not. Select our kilobits here. Select the kilohertz here. Export range between the loops, each marker, selected marker, songs start and end markers. Duration, output, bypass master and effects, import to track, real-time processing, close after export, and overlap. If you go to their website, there is videos and tutorials available. I'm on the PreSonus website, which is the company that makes it. You can go to it, you can select Studio One from their products and you can select compare versions. Scroll down and we see there's four versions. There is a complete free one. There is artist, producer, and professional. As you see, they start off very similar, except artist upwards has a trial or full version available of the Melodyne pitch correction. These couple things, including drag and drop groove extraction, is only available in artist and up. Then event-based effects, micro toolbar, Nimbus extension are only available in artist and up. All three basic versions are 32-bit, including the trial and even producer. The only one which is 64-bit is professional. I think at least producer should be 64-bit as well, and preferably artist too. The integrated mastering tools for automatic mix updating, Red Book CD burning, and digital release is only available in Pro. Export to SoundCloud and QuickTime video playback and sync is only available in Pro. MP3 import and export is only available in Producer and Pro. To be honest, I think that's something that should definitely be an artist and may even be something I think that perhaps could even be in the free version. But I definitely think it should be in all paid versions. Support for audio units, VST, plugins, etc. are only available in Producer. That also, I believe, is definitely something that should be an artist, if not the free version. I can understand not having it in the free version. Actually that's pretty fine, but I think it should be an artist. Guitar amplifier modular, that is limited functionality in the free version and available in artist and up. Analog delay and audio filter is available in artist and up, but not the free version. Binaural pan is available in artist and up. Compressor, dual pan, expander, and fat channel is all available in artist and up. Gate is available in artist and up. Groove delay, IR marker and groove delay is available only in Pro. Multiband dynamics and open air is available only in Pro. Pipeline is available only in Pro. Total Native Effects plugin, 9 comes in the free version, which is good, 28 in artist and producer, and 33 in professional. From the website you can also click Learn to find out more about it, including a knowledge base and a video player. So what do I think of Studio One Pro? If all you need is a program to make some simple music using music loops or samples, then there is probably cheaper options for you, because there is of course GarageBand. There is also cheaper versions of Studio One, such as Studio One Artist, which is I think around £30. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's much cheaper. This is around over £300. There is also, on Mac, there is Logic Pro 10, and there's other ones on Windows. So if all you're looking for is a way to create music using music loops or samples, whichever term you prefer, then over £300 may not be necessary. It's really got some advanced tools here for if you are going to use instruments, you've got to use MIDI devices. It's not intended just to pay £300+ and drag and drop a few loops. You've got to be better off with Studio One Artist, GarageBand, or whatever the equivalent to GarageBand is on Windows. But if you really need a multi-track editor that allows you to have unlimited amount of tracks and good tools for music instruments, or even virtual music instruments such as a virtual piano, etc. If you're a real proper musician, then I do recommend this. I recommend you at least start off with Studio One free, see how you get along. Then you really need more tools. Then I would move on and get the trial of Studio One version 2 Pro. Like I say, if you visit their website, there is a completely free version plus a trial of artist, producer, and professional. So as I tend to do with all programs, I recommend you download a trial, or in this case, I actually recommend you get the free version first and go from there. I think if you're a musician, this is a very, very full-featured music making application and audio editor. Have I had any issues with it? No. What I've tried it with and what I've tried it for, which is recording audio and using loops, music loops, I haven't had really any issues. The only one I've had, which is probably something I'm not just seeing that's probably quite obvious, is inputs and outputs. If I select an input, such as the Blue Snowball microphone, I then cannot select a separate output. I should be able to have Blue Snowball as an input device in the program, and say the MacBook's built-in output speakers as the output, but for some reason I can only select one at a time. But apart from that, I haven't had any issues with it. I haven't had any crashing. I've been able to use dialogue by WaveArts, which is something I haven't been able to do in another program for screen capturing called ScreenFlow 5, which is a program to record your desktop. That supports audio units on Mac, but the dialogue plugin doesn't work with it. But it seems to work here in Studio One. Plus it comes with some of its own, including its own compressor. So I recommend you go take a look at the free version and or the trial. Thanks for watching. Please like and share this video, and if you could do me a huge favour and subscribe, as it'll only take a few seconds and will help me out a lot. Thanks.